Who's always got the best flame?
Yeah, but it's almost finished. So the next one doesn't have 6 wicks.
Oh,
3.
Yep.
so Shavua Tov, everyone. Here we are. So we take our Havdalah candle, which you just need 2 flames coming together to bring in the weekday or the Sabbath into the weekday. So we bring together those 2 things. But as Sue and I think I saw Lori's got, there's a lot of variations of these beautiful candles. And so we light the candle. And then we also take, and my beautiful wife here, let me mute everyone just so we don't get the feedback. It's not that I don't want to hear your lovely voices. It's just when the cantor starts to sing, sometimes there gets feedback. So in any event, great, you can hear me. Yes, you can hear me? Okay, so we have the flame here. My beautiful wife takes that, and then you take in your right hand some kind of kiddush cup or whatever, a receptacle that has in it grape juice or wine, and we take it in our right hand. Our right hand represents strength. So we can agree that we want to come into this week with renewed strength from the rest that we had on Shabbat. So I turn it over to the bracha that we say right before we enter into our song. Hihi ne'el Yeshua v'tiaftach v'lo avchad ki uziv v'zimrat Yadonai v'yehi li Yeshua u'shavtem ma'asom ma'minei Yeshua Adonai Yeshua amcha v'irchatech salah Adonai tzavot imanu miskav lanu Yaakov salah Adonai tzavot ashrei dam b'teach pach Adonai Hashem melech yinenu ve'om koreinu laYehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar Kenti lanu kos Yeshuot Esa b'shem Adonai Ekra Sabri chaverai l'chaim
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei peri hagafen, borei peri hagafen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei mine besamim, borei mine besamim. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei me'orei ha'esh, borei me'orei ha'esh. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben chodesh lechol, ben or lechoshe, ben Yisrael amim, ben yom hashvi, l'sheshet yamei hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamavdil ben chodesh lechol. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
We take a bit of the grape juice or the wine. We don't drink it all because we want to tarry a little bit. The idea is to stay in Shabbat a little bit. That's why we kind of often have a little bit of a moment where we appreciate the Sabbath before we enter into this week. The smoke should remind us, as the cantor is showing us, that the smoke is everywhere, but the senses are kind of awoken in us, that we are to remember the importance of the Sabbath, but entering into the week. And we say, praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, endowing all creation with distinctive qualities, distinguishing between the sacred and the secular, between light and darkness, between the people Israel and others, between the seventh day and the 6 working days of the week. Praised are you, Adonai, that who differentiates the sacred from the secular. And one of the beautiful parts of this week's Torah portion is at the very beginning, Rabbeinu Bachya, who's been somebody that I've been studying over the course of the past year. I try and just focus in on a couple of different commentators in the Torah, and Rabbeinu Bachya is somebody I've been studying this year. He brings up a very, very interesting point, a spiritual point, a point that many of us, as we enter into this week, can learn from. And if you remember Jacob, we all understand he wasn't perfect. He made mistakes. Isn't that right? He wasn't always the perfect human being. And one of the most obvious examples of this is in his treatment of his brother Esau. Certainly he took the birthright. Certainly he took the bracha from his brother. But Rabbeinu Bachya brings up an important point, that because of what had happened between the two of them, and Esau said he was so angry with Jacob. You can imagine that his brother was angry, right? He took the bracha, he took the birthright, and that you have challenges between the brothers. The brothers didn't necessarily get along. But what Rabbeinu Bachya brings up is that what did Jacob do? Jacob takes off. He doesn't deal with the relationship as it is. How many of us, when we get into fights with loved ones or things don't go our way, there's a fight or a flight response, isn't that right? So many of us just take off. And that's what Jacob did. He takes off, and he's 20 years in the foreign land, in the land of his kin, and where he finds a wife, he finds 2 wives, he creates a mass fortune, and then he returns. And that's where this week's Torah portion picks up, is Jacob returns, and he is going to encounter his brother Esau. That Rabbeinu Bachya notices something very important is important for us. Many times we fall, many times we make mistakes, many times in our lives on a daily basis, on a yearly basis. Just look back. And isn't it true that we do fall down quite often? But it's not whether or not we stay down, it's what we get up and try again. And that's the difference between somebody who is, as Rabbeinu Bachya brings up, is a spiritual giant. Someone, we always are going to have problems in our lives. We're always going to fall. We're always going to make mistakes. That's the given. Our response to it is how we can be spiritual beings. It's not whether or not something's going to happen to you. It's your response to it. And Jacob ran at first, but then at some point he takes responsibility. And Rabbeinu Bachya points out it is that moment, whether it takes 20 years, 1 moment, a day, a minute, is that your reaction changes, your response changes. May we enter into this week, and when we start to sing Eliyahu Hanavi, that don't you agree with me that would truly bring redemption if we look at our mistakes that we make, that we will make, and look at them as opportunities to become spiritual giants, to try something a little different, as opportunities to repair and build, as opposed to just mistakes that we run from. So, Shavua Tov. We will continue with Eliyahu Hanavi. This is going to be an amazing week. So many opportunities this week for us to grow, change, and become better human beings. Hanukkah's coming. We increase light. So this is the perfect time of year to increase beauty, kindness, tolerance, and love in this world. What can you add to this world is our challenge, and how we ought to go through the day. What can we add to the stream of life? So we think of that as we grab a partner, we stick our hands out. I got Sue and Cantor next to me. I give you my arms. That's working great with Sue for me. And we continue with Eliyahu Hanavi.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera ve'amenu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
So we now, as we say farewell to the Sabbath and enter into this week, it's still the weekend, I guess, in the secular world, but Yom HaRishon or Yom Rishon is Sunday, it's the beginning of the week. We offer a Yiddish prayer, a bracha, a blessing as we enter to this week. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, protect your people Israel in their need as the holy beloved Sabbath takes its leave. May the good week come to us with health and life, good fortune and blessing, prosperity and dignity, graciousness and loving kindness, sustenance and success, with all good blessings and with forgiveness. And we all say amen.
Amen.
Shavua Tov. Let me unmute so we all do the most important
Shavua
part
Tov,
with
everybody.
each other. A Shavua Tov.
Have a great week, everybody.
Have a great week.
Have a great
Shavua
week.
tov.
Have a great
Shavua
week.
Tov.
Shavua
Good to
tov,
see everyone. Hugs and kisses.